For the first time in my life, I've been truly struck speechless.
When I was little, my father was famous. He was the greatest samurai in the empire. He cut off the heads of 131 lords.
Hey everybody, Jerry Williams, aka Greater Sapien here. Thanks for stopping by. This is my last video of 2024. It is the morning of New Year's Eve, and I think the subject of this video is appropriate to be the last of the year. So, I have to tell you, I've had a rough day or so. I've had encounters online with such devastating stupidity that I don't know what to do with these thoughts I'm having. So I just want to air it all out, and maybe by sharing my experience with you, the weight of this will be easier to carry. The first is the latest video from Eric Dubay. I had a lot of work, actual work, the last couple of days, so I didn't have a chance to look at comments until late in the evening the other day. And someone told me that Dubay had a new video. I thought his previous one was bad enough, claiming there was evidence of fake footage because MC Toon's shadow length was pretty damn dumb. But this one, right off the bat, he makes a claim that the Antarctic trip was filmed on a movie set using something like the volume they used in The Mandalorian.
It's becoming increasingly clear that the so-called Final Experiment's 24-hour Antarctic sun was just another faked event recorded on a film set. Unbeknownst to most, for the past few years, portable, panoramic, 360-degree LED studio setups now exist and are being used for Hollywood productions like The Mandalorian and many others.
Where did I hear that first?
Flawless. Our new quantum chip runs the volume so smoothly it's almost scary. The flat earthers have no idea they're standing in a glorified movie set.
I've read about the volume. They used it in The Mandalorian, right? To simulate alien landscapes?
Oh yeah, it was me making shit up to make fun of you. I was thinking, hey, what's a really stupid conspiracy I could come up with to explain the final experiment? Oh, I know. I'll say it was filmed on a giant version of the volume like The Mandalorian. That just goes to show that you can never underestimate the level of idiocy a flat earther will pander to in order to perpetuate their grift. Then Dubay shows that he doesn't know how a 360-degree camera works by claiming that the shape of the sun in the time-lapse is evidence of use of the volume. This also shows that he doesn't know how the volume works either, because when using the volume, everything looks perfectly fine in the view of the camera. But everyone who is not the camera sees some weird shit happening. It's in his own video. There's the shot that the camera sees, but then here's what everyone else sees. See the big bright rectangle in the camera's field, which is the camera's field of view, and the abrupt change in scenery outside of that field of view? Unless you're in the perfect spot, the perspective will be wildly off for you in the volume. I knew that when I wrote my little joke play.
The clouds, are they looking weird? Like, I was wondering if you knew anything about retroreflective zootropic seismography.
Wait, you guys don't think that retroreflective zootropic seismography is a real thing too, do you? That's the mechanism I made up to explain how different people can see things in the volume in proper perspective. I made it up. It's not real. Then Dubay doubled down on the claim that MC Toon's shadow was due to a local light source, a really asinine claim that I already debunked before. Let's see. He then tries to claim that since the people didn't have foggy breath, they must not have been where it was truly cold. Not understanding that the air is very dry there because it is a desert. Yeah, it's a freaking desert, the largest desert on the planet. He then calls out the lack of snow as suspect. Again, not understanding that it actually doesn't have much snow there, only about 2 inches per year, which is nothing. Lake Tahoe gets about 25 feet a year. Union Glacier is primarily ice and is overlaid with a thin layer of wind-hardened compact snow. Those tracks are most likely from the machines grooming and packing what snow there is, so the surface is easier to walk on. There are footprints all over the place, but you really have to compress the already compressed snow to make it. Dubay basically accuses Austin of faking things because he had to walk over to a spot outside of the groomed surface to get loose snow. When the God of Flat Earth casts out the Jesus of Flat Earth, what does he become? My, oh my, you hate to see it. He calls out the lack of precipitation like that's a problem, when, let me remind you, Antarctica is the largest desert in the world with only about 2 inches of precipitation per year. He says there was never any wind strong enough to affect their hair. Kind of silly because 1, what does that matter? 2, nearly everyone there had short hair or a big hat on. And 3, oh look, it's Lisbeth, she has long hair and there's wind affecting it. He then says the mountains seem strangely close, even though they are supposedly miles away. This would be true and very cool. Again, this is because there is little to no moisture in the air and no particulates from falling snow or car exhaust or anything. So the normal haze and fading of distant objects that people are used to seeing doesn't occur. You are seeing things far away, but crystal clear. That's one reason why everyone spoke of the beauty of such a desolate place. You see things like nowhere else. Dubay then repeats the same chroma key claim that other morons are tossing around. Now, remember, this is Eric Dubay, who just last week said that the 24-hour sun in Antarctica is explained in the flat Earth model. That all the way back more than a century ago in pathetic cosmetology, they knew about the 24-hour sun in Antarctica. But for some reason, he feels the need to say that this trip never happened. He wants it both ways. The final experiment was fake. They never recorded the 24-hour sun in Antarctica because you can't, and it doesn't exist. But even if it does, we knew about it and it's part of our model. What the fuck, people? Flat Earthers. Make it make sense. You're stalling, Jerry. You're stalling. Now, before I get to the biggest stupid thing this past weekend, let me answer a question from a globe denier and someone who has been commenting a lot lately because they are a big supporter of UThink. User Ivan Mekton popped on a thread yesterday morning and asked me if the sun was moving or the earth. Now, Monday is a work day and I was occupied all day. But some people think my job is to reply promptly. So it looks like an hour later, he chimes back in asking if the sun is moving like everyone in the final experiment says, or is the earth rotating like the globe predicts? He really wants me to explain this pickle that the globe supporters have gotten themselves into. An hour later, he chimes in again, declaring victory since I didn't answer his question. I will answer it here, just to make sure as many dumbass flat earthers hear the answer in case they are too thick to figure it out themselves. The earth is rotating. That is why the sun appears to move across the sky. The earth is also in orbit around the sun. That's why it appears to move between the Tropic of Cancer and the Tropic of Capricorn throughout the year. The sun is also moving around in orbit around the center of the galaxy. But we are moving along with it, so the relative motion is kind of nil in that regard. Everyone on the final experiment says the sun moves because they are speaking of the appearance of motion of the sun in the sky. There is no contradiction, just as I explained what the globe model says. I understand the restrictions of language can be difficult for some people, Ivan. But when I say the sun is going down, that doesn't mean I've rejected the idea of a spinning Earth and now have to come up with a new model that explains a falling sun. When the people of the final experiment say the sun moved around us, they are not coming up with a new idea. They are just using common language. There is no need for a new model. The globe model works perfectly. Okay. I think I was stalling. The big thing I need to talk about is the last rebuttal video from UThink. Have you ever been shocked into silence by the level of someone's ignorance? Have you ever come across something so devastatingly dumb that you truly wonder if the person you are dealing with is insane, or you're insane, or if you are truly in the same reality? And that's what happened to me with the latest UThink video. Let's get you up to date. UThink made a video claiming that because there was no parallax shift in the time-lapse video of the 24-hour sun that Dave McKeegan put up, that it was fake. He showed video that he or someone else had made of someone recording while panning around and points out the parallax that can be seen. I pointed out in my video that parallax only occurs when the camera actually moves, and a 360-degree camera does not move. It captures the entire surrounding area at the same time, and then someone has the option of only focusing on certain parts of the exported file. That's what McKeegan did with the first file he uploaded. I then did a brief demonstration of how the appearance of camera movement can be done without parallax by recording this medallion going across the field of view and then zooming in and tracking the medallion. In the video, I said what I was doing, using the same footage but keeping the medallion centered. I then explained that this is what McKeegan did with his 360-degree camera footage. Pretty clear, right? But then I started to hear from some of UThink's fans and UThink himself. They accused me of lying and using the same footage for my demonstrations. Yes, accusing me as if I hadn't said in the video that it was the same footage. Turns out these people were following the lead of UThink, who put out another video focused on me. The main goal of the video is to insult me, call me a bunch of names he would never say to my face because he's a coward that won't even stand in front of his own statements by showing his face. But let's look at the critique he has of my debunk in order, because I want you all to experience this the way I did. The first thing he does in the way of an argument is show this image after showing me saying that Dave's camera doesn't have to move because it's looking at the sun at all times. He says the camera has to turn because the Earth, because if the Earth is turning, the sun is standing still. I guess he has this idea that if one thing is moving, the other thing has to be standing still, that it's not possible for both the sun and to be moving in its orbit around the galactic center and the Earth to be rotating. Okay, all right. I know that was too deep a thought for them. But is he saying that I can't claim the camera isn't moving if I claim the Earth is turning? Is he dealing in absolutes here? That if I claim the camera isn't moving, I must be saying that it is absolutely still relative to the rest of the universe? That was my first thought, because I had already explained that Dave McKeegan's camera was a 360-degree camera and thus didn't have to be physically turned to follow the sun. So why was he trying to make this point? I'm just explaining my thought process as I watch this so you'll know where my thoughts were. He then plays this demonstration. And I'm kind of taken aback because, well, you know, this isn't how McKeegan's camera worked. The demo shows a camera that is unidirectional. It can only capture what is right in front of it. McKeegan's camera is a 360-degree camera. Its field of view is omnidirectional. At this point, I'm watching the video and I'm thinking about what I can say to clarify the concept. And it kind of dawned on me that these people don't know what a 360-degree camera is. I think when UThink hears 360-degree camera, he thinks it's a camera that can turn around 360 degrees, that has a motor that turns it 360 degrees. Is that it, guys? Is that what you think it is? No, it's a camera that literally sees all around at the same time. I honestly think you guys don't know what the camera can do. So that's what I'm thinking, as UThink goes back to talking about there has to be a parallax shift. He can't conceive of a camera like the one that was used. He then plays my demonstration of tracking an object with a non-moving camera to show it can look like a camera moving without parallax shift. And what does this guy do with the footage?
Listen, buddy, you're a dumbass. All he did was he took the same footage and he panned within the same footage. So I've lined the footage up, the two clips up. He's moving the footage. He's panning across the footage. Because he's a dumbass liar.
He claims I was being deceptive by using the same footage and zooming in and panning to follow the medallion. You know, exactly what I said I was doing. But no, according to him and the doofuses that follow him, I am a liar because I did exactly what I said I was doing. But hey, guess what? This isn't the stupidest thing. At this point, I'm watching the video and I'm wondering, how do I approach this? These are people who listened to me say what I was doing, and then they accuse me of hiding what I was doing. It gets worse though. He plays the section where I say it's the exact same footage. And then, well, you watch. Now here's the same footage with the medallion kept centered the entire time. No parallax here either. If I claimed the camera was moving, you could use the lack of parallax to prove I was lying. But I don't claim the camera is moving. The medallion is in the camera's view at all times.
Right. So there's no way he can swing the pendulum twice and the pendulum flip-flops in the exact same position in the exact same place. All he did is he zoomed into the footage. I overlaid the two. You had the darker footage and the lighter footage. I showed you how he zoomed in, and I showed you what he did.
What? He played the part where I said it was the same footage, and then he claimed there was no way I was able to swing the medallion the same way twice. I was just using the same footage. Bruh, are you fucking with me? He then says my little demonstration debunked the entire final experiment somehow. I don't know how. It makes no sense to me. But here's the final thing. What is hands down the most ignorant thing I have ever had presented to me in all my years of debunking. Now, before I reveal that ignorance, I want to give a shout out to all of those who supported UThink's dumb fuckery in his comments. I've listed them in the description, and here they are. A special nod goes to Ivan Mekton and Flatzoid, the only two names I recognize. You've both chimed in support of this ignorance. And I wanted everyone to really understand how fucking stupid you are. UThink, once again, plays my video where I say the camera wasn't turning. And here, just watch. The same is the case with McKeegan's time-lapse. The top and bottom videos are taken from the same file. The top footage is focused on keeping the sun centered. The bottom is not. But the camera did not turn to follow the sun because it was looking at the sun at all times.
Oh, he speaks so well. The top footage is not. But dumbass, in the bottom footage, I can see the camera turning, you dipshit. I can see the camera turning, you idiot.
I generally don't know what to say. How? Dude. That's not the same camera. How do I even begin? Have you ever seen something so stupid that like your face goes numb? Like your fingers tingle? Am I dealing with an adult here? Because this isn't this isn't like object permanence. This is something else. It's like self-awareness. How does someone look at this footage and think that the camera shooting the footage is in this shot? Bruh, that's a different camera, man. That's not the same camera. How? How are you living? How are you breathing?
Breathe, stupid, breathe! You forgot to breathe again!
And any of you who came to me and bragged to me that this was some type of gotcha video, Flatzoid, Ivan Mechnin, he doesn't recognize that the camera in the video is not the camera shooting the video. We're not in the same reality, man. That's just, I don't know what. I'm going to back up. See, the top video here is the same video. See, look, there's the camera. There's that camera right there. But in the top video, McKeegan panned across, just like I had panned across, the footage to focus on the sun. And thus that camera, a different camera, moves off the frame. The lower footage is not tracking the sun. It's the same footage. And so it still has that camera in the lower corner. It's a different camera. It's a different fucking camera. How? Bruh. I got nothing. I got nowhere to go with this. You think that you have a shared reality that you can appeal to, and maybe in my naivete and our naivete that we think that, okay, if we just point out something, this person will understand. But There are 4-year-olds that understand that that is a different camera. I don't know. There's nothing I can say to any of you. Conversations with any of those people in that list are worthless, are useless. There is no value in trying to communicate with someone who has no concept of reality. It's stunning. It is literally the stupidest, most ignorant claim I have ever heard in my 12 years on YouTube debunking. Wow.
That's my job! That's what I do! I don't lose! I win! Is there no one on this planet to even challenge me?
Maybe you came by to congratulate me on last night's victory.